Hi there guys, well this one's caught me out as much as you. I really wasn't intending on putting a video up today, but some news has just broken and I wanted to get it out there for you real quickly today, that it looks like there's going to be a brand new way for you to get your next iPhone, and it could be on a subscription basis. Welcome back to me, David, and I say this is news that's just broken today. So I was quietly sitting here in my studio writing the blog, and I'll leave the link for the blog in the notes for this video. And one of the points I found when I was doing research for the blog was that, yes, it looks like Apple are about to launch a brand new idea that is leasing or subscription basis for your iPhone. It's the company's biggest push yet for reoccurring sales. And I found it in a report from Mark Gurman over on Bloomberg News. The plan is still very much in development. It was an unnamed insider at Apple that broke the news to Gurman. But apparently, as much as it's still in development, they're very keen for it to try and be released before the end of this year. In fact, the magnitude of this announcement just a day or so ago caused Apple stocks to rise by 2.3%. So think of it similar to a lease program for a car. I don't know if you're like me, I've got my car on a lease. I go into the dealership, I decide what I want on that car, so it starts off at a basic level and then you add more and more things on. And that's kind of how it's going to be with this new subscription basis for your iPhone. And although they're only starting out with iPhone, they're hoping soon to include other hardware, and very importantly and interestingly, they're looking at bundles as well, which means that you might be able to say, go and decide you want the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and with it you want Apple TV Plus, and you also want, say, 2 terabytes of iCloud storage. All of that could be put down as a bundle on your lease, and you would agree a monthly fixed payment that you'd be making, so you'd never own the phone outright. At the end, you either give the phone back or you put the phone in as down payment on the next model that's coming out, exactly the same as you do with a car. And I don't know why somebody hasn't thought of this before. It's a brilliant idea. And of course, what it will do is kind of ease the burden of ownership. With phones getting ever more expensive and with people's wages not meeting inflation at the moment, I think Apple are looking at ways just to make sure they can bring as many people as possible into the ecosystem. So by doing this kind of idea of a lease of a phone, it's just absolutely fantastic. Of course, you will still be able to buy your phone in the traditional ways with outright cash, if anybody still does that, and also with carrier subsidies, which has been one of the most favoured ways, certainly in the UK, for many, many years. But this, obviously, is another way of getting you into the Apple ecosystem with virtually no upfront cost at all. I'm assuming it will be similar to a car where you have to put a certain amount of money down upfront, and then, as I say, you'll just agree payments over 24 or 36 months to lease the phone. And I assume that will mean that you'll always have an up-to-date phone. So when the next phone comes out, you would just chop your, say, 13 in for the 14 and keep moving on. So you'll always be up to date. And it's kind of like subscriptions for apps. For instance, I subscribe to Creative Cloud. In the old days, you used to own Photoshop, InDesign, and so on. Now you don't. It's just on a leasing month-to-month basis. Suits me absolutely fine because it means I'm up to date all of the time. And that would mean your hardware, your iPhone, and any other creative software or indeed hardware that they decide to sell, you'll always be up to date. So I just really wanted to get this news out to you today and see what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comments of this video if it's something that would interest you. Of course, Apple did before get into the idea of a payment system with the 2015 upgrade system that they had running, but that was very different to this because there you did own the phone and you were chopping it in or handing it in as part of an upgrade plan. This isn't that at all. It is purely a subscription basis. And they're not the first company to do it, not the first tech company at least to do it. Peloton have done this recently when they did a subscription idea on bikes and on fitness equipment. And of course, we know that Apple and Peloton have worked reasonably closely, not always terribly harmoniously together over recent years, but maybe Apple looked at that and thought, you know what, that's a good idea, something that we should get into. There's going to be various tier levels of subscription that you can get into. So I assume that would be either sort of like a basic iPhone 14, for instance, looking at this year's phones, all the way up to the 14 Pro Max, and as I say, plus other bundles that you might want to put into it as well. So as I say, I've left the details of my blog where I talk about this further in the notes to this video. I'd love to know what you think. If you think it's something that might interest you, and I'd just like your comments and feedback on it. The news only just broke as I was writing today, and I just wanted to get it out there for you. I will have another video out over the weekend. I'm going to get busy on Apple Views. Apple Views, if you haven't seen before, is where I take a whole long look at all of the week's news that's available for all of us Apple lovers. And I say I'm going to get busy on that later on today, and you should have that, I hope, sometime over the weekend, Sunday, I'm thinking. But anyway, thanks for joining me on this video. I hope you found it of interest. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next one.